You see, with wisdom brings great pain because we live in a matrix within a matrix within a matrix. We live in a world of multifaceted illusions. And, I think that it's popular, it's common, and it's, sought after, to seek knowledge, to seek wisdom, to seek information. I think that those things within their proper perspective are good, but when you search for knowledge to a certain degree, and I think you acquire so much of an understanding of what is actually transpiring in this realm that we're living in, nothing comes from it but pain. So I would actually advise most individuals to not even look that deep into things. And I think that the only way that you will find yourself looking that deeply into things is if you were actually chosen to, is if you were actually called to do so. And, that's not a great feeling. In all honesty, it's not. I think that people will romanticize the life that individuals like myself live. And I think that people will, look at it in fashions and ways that it's not meant to be looked at, because in all reality, nothing comes from it. I think that 99% of individuals will be much, much happier just enjoying their human experience, because when you start to understand the human experience, you will realize that in all reality, we are so far from base reality that it makes you question everything. When you get so intellectual, when you get to such a point where you even understand micro expressions of a person's body language in their face, just to name an example, you get to a spot where you begin to realize that all things are not as they seem to be. And then you question the very things that individuals go their whole life and never question, right? You question the concepts of love. You question the concepts of family. You question the concepts of relationships, because you begin to realize that at the big scheme of things, these things are all a fallacy as well. And, it's not to be confused with a pessimistic view. In fact, I'm telling you guys that it's quite optimistic if you can just stay in the realm of one that can just simply enjoy the human experience, not understand it, and everyone can't do that though. There are those, and more often than not, given that this is one of the pieces of content inside the vault, I don't know if anyone will ever see it. Who knows? But what I do and what I can tell you is this. I can tell you that some individuals are destined to be that intellectual, be that knowledgeable, be that innovative. And that within and of itself, many people envy that. Many people look at it and they're like, oh, I want to be that. I want to achieve that. I want to see that. I want to be like that. And in all reality, you don't. You don't want to be like this. You don't want to have these burdens placed on you that nothing will ever lift. Most people will be happier with a life that they're just able to enjoy the human experience, and that's why even what's going on right now, in the world, I'm talking to you guys by right now, I'm meaning in the world right now that I'm talking to you guys about. There's a lot of people that, promote truth seeking, this and that. And in this, like I said, in this proper perspective, but I mean, those that are really chosen to do those type of things have to endure an existence that it requires the darkest elements of you to even get up every single day. It really does. And I think that the only way that one can get through that, because I would assume many people are watching this, and you might be in that position. You might actually be one of the chosen. You might actually be one of those ones that is assigned with that task. And what I have to say to you is, I think that you're gonna feel these overwhelming burdens. You know so much, and you can even articulate it, but those around you will never even begin to understand what it is you're saying. And because that is the reality, I think that the only way for you to get through, a wise person, once, one of my mentors actually told me that, they call it the black hole. And I think that the only way to continue on with your life, you have to face this black hole. You have to face this abyss. You have to face it. You have to face it every single day. And you learn to not be afraid of it, right? You learn to not be afraid of being alone. You learn to not be afraid of being outcasted. You learn to not be afraid of even being afraid, right? And in all reality, it gets to a certain point where you have to accept it. You have to. You have to look it dead in his face, and you have to accept it. That's the only way that you can move forward is by accepting it, because the more that you try to fight against it, the more that you try to resist it, the more that you try to, combat this, it does you no good. It really does. It does you absolutely no good at all, because it's something that will be there regardless. I think that the only way for you to be able to, productively move forward, because here's the thing, right? You're still alive. You're still alive. So you have all this information that brought you great pain, and I know the feeling, that black hole type of feeling is not suicidal, but you don't have the desire to live, and I think that you have to face it. You have to face it every single day. And, in all reality, you have to just accept it. This is just a part of your existence. It's a part of your reality. It's a part and a piece of you. And once you just accept it, continuously, it's a daily thing. I can't stress that to you guys enough. Here I am right now at a very young age. And I'm telling you guys, you have to face it every single day, and you get better at it every single time that it comes around. It's worse at sometimes than it is at others, but you have to face it, and when you face it, you accept it in a way as being, a part of this existence. It's a part of your experience. And I think that we have to understand, like, a tool that can be used for accepting it is understanding that we don't control fate. We don't. There are many different realities that can exist. I do agree with that. I agree with manifesting. I agree with calling things forth to you. I agree with your ability to even command and control the atoms of the atmosphere that make up everything solid matter. I even agree with that. But at the end of the day, we do not control fate as far as it's going to go exactly the way that we just wrote it out or planned it out, or, willing things into existence to that degree can be achieved. But we have to understand that at the end of the day, right, you're having a human experience. We're not in base reality. We connect to base reality. We connect with our higher self. We connect with the creator, but we are having a human experience right now. And in that human experience, certain things will transpire that don't have a reason other than them being a part of this human experience. And so I think that when it comes down to the concept of fate, whether you can control it or not, I don't think that should even really be the focus. right? You know, because that ties into, you know, you have to accept that black hole, face that black hole every single day, because, you know, in all reality, you don't control it. You can control you, but that's a part of your existence. That's a part of your experience. And when you try to latch onto it and control it, it becomes all consuming. You know, it will drive you to a point where you might end up losing control of yourself, and that becomes dangerous if you are truly one of the intellectual and knowledgeable individuals, because the damage that you can do to this world, even to other people, is way beyond repair. So it's very important that you hold on to that control, not because these governments tell you to, not because these laws tell you to, not because another individual may want you to, but because you need to want to, because you want to be governed by a certain principle, because you find things moral and immoral, and you have to continue to function that way. And you know, that's my whole point with all. That's why you have to face it and address it every single day. And you know, back to my thing about fate, we don't control fate in that way. You know, because some things have to happen because they just have to happen. You know, it is what it is. But at the end of the day, I like to think about it like this, right? You know, it's not going to define what I do on a day to day. It can't change, you know, who I am. I mean, fate is just something that, you know, I meet, you know, from time to time. You know, because what's going to happen to you, what's going to happen for you, you know, what's going to happen against you, you know, the wins, the losses, you know, all the above, externally, internally, everything has been waiting to happen to you since the beginning of time. So when you view it from that perspective, you know, I understand there are certain things that I won't understand right now. And when you view it from that perspective, you know, like I said, I mean, fate's just something that, you know, I collide with and I meet from time to time. And it is what it is when it's that time. You know, see, too often we get to that time and it's like you think that you can control the fate that you were just met with. And that doesn't make sense. And when you view things from that perspective, as powerful as we are, as intellectual as we are, as knowledgeable as we are, you have to understand that it doesn't work that way. You know, the fate that you just met today, or the fate that you'll go on to meet a month from now, 2 months from now, it's too late by the time that you meet it for you to be crying then. It's too late for you to be complaining then. It's too late for you to be trying to will something different into existence then. You know, it's already transpired. You know, so what's in the cards at that given point in time is what's in the cards. You know, you can control something that's going to happen 2, 3, 4 years from now. But even when it comes down to that, it has been waiting to happen to you since the beginning of time. So, you know, as I sit here in the abyss, you know, I sit here in the black hole, I sit here in, you know, all that my life is currently, it's not realistic, and it's not beneficial for me to expect a difference from something that I'm thinking or willing right now. You know, whether you feel like you deserve it, whether you feel like it's right, whether you feel like it's wrong, whatever, you know, right now it just is. You know, it's already transpiring, it's already unfolding. So for you to spend time focusing on that would make no logical sense when you could spend time focusing on your output even. You know, I'm not even going to say that you have to focus on what lies ahead. You know, you could focus simply just on your output, and by output, I mean the things that are under your control at any given point in time, which is what you choose to do now. And I think that, viewing fate from that perspective, viewing the creator and all of creation from that perspective gives you more power. Because, I'm going to just accept where I am. It is what it is. Many of us will live a life where, many people die disappointed. Many people experience certain heartbreaks. Many people are let down. It is what it is. At the end of the day, like I said, fate's just is something that you'll meet from time to time. And what's transpired is what's transpired, but you can maintain your joy. Not maintaining your joy as in, being happy or any nonsense like that this modern culture teaches you, but maintaining your joy as far as, simply being of service. Being of service to the cause that you find worthy. And as far as it bringing you joy, bringing you contentment, bringing you happiness, I'm using joy in the aspect of maintaining your joy as in you are being of service. You're serving a purpose still. And no matter how it feels, you can still serve a purpose. And I think that too often we expect fate to hand us happiness, or we expect fate or the creator to hand us the big win that we've been waiting for. And that may be the case. But it might not at the same time. Who knows? Who knows? Because at the end of the day, it's something that you're gonna meet from time to time. And I don't think that everything should even be looked at from a good or bad point of view. I think that some things just are, and I don't think that they have to make sense or anything like that. That's often the drawback of being intellectual. It's the drawback of being knowledgeable. It's the drawback of being and feeling all these type of things that, it's all consuming. But at the end of the day, the individuals that are going to be there, there's nothing that you can do to make them not be there. The individuals that are going to leave, there's nothing you can do to make them stay. The things that belong to you, there's nothing that you can do to, have those things flee from you. And the things that are going to leave you, there's nothing you can do to make those and hold on to those possessions any longer. That's not to justify sloth or justify laziness or justify negligence. I'm talking about in this proper perspective as far as the man and the way you're conducting yourself. If you're conducting yourself proper, if you're being a man, if you're doing or being a woman even, because that's not just one gender thing. If you're being what it is you're supposed to be, then at the end of the day, there's nothing that you could have done to make things transpire differently other than that. And if at the end of the day you can go to bed and lay in the and I'm not saying that that's gonna make anything any better, because it's not. In fact, I'm proposing the opposite. I'm saying that laying in this abyss, looking, these black holes and these open vortexes, the even some experience the abyss of loneliness, even that, if you can just face it, knowing that you're being what you're supposed to be, you're being and by being what you're supposed to be, you're one with your highest being, you're one with your ancestors, you're one with the creator, and you are the truth. Not saying that you're perfect, not saying that you don't make mistakes, not saying that you don't do things that are contrary to even what you may want to do or represent, because your identity transcends any mistake that you make. And I want you to understand that in doing that, you're not guaranteed things. I think that that's the reality that we have to, understand, is that things don't operate in the way, in the manner that many of you guys are approaching life at, and I think the maturity of, your development as, a man is, or even as a woman is, understanding that all you can really do at the end of the day is represent truth. Because look, I just, made some content earlier, and, I was talking about how perhaps we are toxic, perhaps, I'm not the best individual. Perhaps I'm not a good person at all, maybe, but I'm the truth though. I'm the truth. I'm the truth as far as I say what I mean what I say. It's what you see is what you get. What I'm saying on this camera right now is real. It is what it is. And representing that truth, you're not guaranteed anything, just like in representing what's real, what you deem to be real, what you deem to be righteous, what you deem to be a certain thing does not guarantee you anything in this life or human experience. That's the reality that you have to face every single day, which by no means is easy, right? Because I think that, as an intellectual individual, the only thing that we really want is, it's not accumulation, it's not fame, it's not recognition, admiration. I mean, as a man, I want respect, but I think in the depths of each of our souls, we yearn for individuals, or even an individual that understands what we're saying, that relates to what we're saying, that actually feels what we're saying, has that same sense of truth about them, because oftentimes we're so dedicated to the truth that we represent that we're willing to die for it. We'll put our life on the line for it. And I think that oftentimes we're met with individuals that are simply enjoying their human experience. They have no high level thoughts, not as an insult to them, because, it's not, like I said, I actually think that most people are better off that way. I think that a better and more enjoyable life is created that way. But, some people have to do the hard stuff, as far as some individuals have to be to maintain the balance of everything that was created in all creation. Individuals have to be created for certain tasks. So understanding that and understanding the balance of the universe and all its multifaceted dimensions, we must exist. We must bring truth to the table. We must fulfill and do certain things. But I know that in our hearts of hearts, in the depths of our soul, what we aim to really yearn for is not the accumulation that we get, because many of us get to that money. That means nothing. Many of us achieve fame. That means nothing. Many of us achieve that notoriety. That means nothing. Many of us achieve that respect. That respect does mean something, but at the end of the day, that's not what I believe that we yearn for. I believe that we yearn for that connection to individuals that are cut from the same cloth. And to go even deeper into it, the yearning for individuals that are an individual that really fucks and cares with you, really fucks with you and really cares about you, to the extent that, they would put their life on the line for you, just as you would do it for them, because oftentimes by default, especially, the men that are chosen, we're the ultimate protector, so many of you guys are in the midst of all of that, you're faced with the loneliness that comes from that, and like I've been saying this whole time, the only way to combat that is to face it. You have to face it, and I think that once you face it, it's really not that bad. It's not that bad because at the end of the day, like I can't control it. That type of stuff right there, leads to you wanting to possess or control every dynamic of everything. And it really takes from the human experience. But that's my whole point, that 99% of individuals walking around, they just want to enjoy their human experience. They've been blessed to not have to carry those burdens. They've been blessed to be able to do those kind of things and fit in with those kind of things. Like, look, if we're going to be real about this, most of us can't even really it's a weird thing, because in our hearts of hearts, because and many people dehumanize us. We become not human, and they don't understand that we yearn the most for a connection, but we don't know how to do it. We don't know how to do it. Our mind is plagued with all these thoughts of the real reality of things, and all these intellectual endeavors, and all of these different thoughts that it's hard for us to articulate and put it into words. But men like myself find ways to articulate it, and it still really doesn't make any sense. And I think that we aim to have that connection. I think many men die, many individuals that are actually chosen die without having ever truly connected with another individual. And that within of itself is what our reality is like. And like I've been saying, fate is something that we simply meet from time to time. And perhaps the sacrifice of this knowledge is to forego these connections. The sacrifice of this knowledge, the sacrifice of this intellect, the sacrifice of these skill sets that we possess, is to forego some of the normal experiences that other humans enjoy. And they enjoy those things, and we often want those things too. I don't deny that. I've never, and many of you guys do. Many of you guys act like that you're not human, and I used to do that. Act like it didn't matter, and all those things, but it does though. And I'm not saying that acknowledging that it matters is going to fix anything or it's going to change anything, but I mean, at least you can live in the reality of what's real, live in the reality of what the truth is. And, we do yearn for those things, just like every other human does. We do feel certain things just like every other human does. And, you might even see individuals having those human experiences that it is that you in your hearts of hearts yearn for, and yet that you'll probably never have. And that within of itself is something that you also must face. You have to face it, but you have to accept it as well. And I think that we don't know what it's like, on the other side. So, it's hard for us to even relate to the other side. And, I think that's also why many individuals come across us and, they think that we are not good, or think that we are barbaric, or think that we are not human even to a degree. Psychopaths, or whatever word you want to call it. But in reality, that's not the case. In reality, we've just been chosen to facilitate and do different things, but we want a lot of those same things as well. I think that in a lot of ways we have to forego them for reasons I cannot explain to you right now. And that's really the purpose of me making this content, the purpose of me articulating, because I don't have to do any of this. I can just continue on with getting money in the various ways that I get money, and move away and be on the island somewhere eventually, or I could be on a beach right now. But the thing is, I do this because I want other people that experience this to understand that it doesn't always make sense. I think that this social media culture, this technological information age that we're living in, has given us the false reality that, and even that we're intellectual and we're knowledgeable and we find answers, but this information age has given us the false, fallacy to believe in that there's always an answer to be found, or there's always someone that's already figured it out, or, all of that. And I think that when it comes down to this, I can't tell you why we must forego these things. I can't tell you why we experience the massive amounts of disappointment that we experience. I can't tell you why these individuals will let you down. I can't tell you why these individuals hate you. I can't answer that question for you. I can't even answer that question for me. I don't know. But at the end of the day, I don't have to know why to accept it. I don't have to know why to face it every single day. And at the end of the day, it's gonna be what it's gonna be. The Creator heard your cries. Your ancestors heard, your crying out to what it is. In fact, you don't even have to articulate it to your higher self, the Creator, the ancestors, whatever, the universe, whatever you want to, identify with, or whatever spiritual realm of the multifaceted dimension that we're living in, that I'm talking about, or that you want to identify with at this given point in time. You don't even have to articulate that. They already know, because see, I think that what, your soul yearns for, it seeps out of every pore of your body, just like everyone else. Many of us conceal things better. Because we're intellectual, we understand body language, we understand, and a lot of us are in positions and situations where you can't let emotion be shown. But, I want it to be understood that, we don't even have to articulate it. So it's already known, and one day fate might just meet up with you. You might, cross paths with faith once again, and or fate once again rather. And it might just be there. It might not. But at the end of the day, I don't have an answer why not. You don't have an answer why not. None of us can answer that question. As intellectual as we are, as knowledgeable as we are, we cannot answer the question as to why things have materialized the way that they do. Why we're living in this world where people don't understand the things that we understand. Why we're living in this world that's so watered down. Why we're experiencing the lack of connection in general. We can't answer that question. And anyone that tells you that they have found the answer to that, be not deceived, because they are just probably trying to sell you something in this course era that we're living in. But I mean, when it really boils down to it, to put your hope in, well, it's gonna change, or it's gonna be different, or this person's gonna be different, or this situation is gonna be different. To do that to yourself is not fair to you. It's not, because you can't say that. You can't answer that question. You can't do any of that. Don't you, like, other people can do that, right? People that are living life from the perspective of, simply they are enjoying their human experience can do that. Because more often than not, they will encounter that. But, people say maybe we have high standards, or, people have said, I'll speak for myself. People have said that to me, and I don't think that I do have high standards when it comes to what I expect out of situations or individuals. I think that, we expect an energy match, but our energy is truly one of a kind when it comes down to our intensity at which we do things, which we believe in things. Like if I tell an individual that I love them, if I tell them that, I will die for them, the intensity at which I'm going to be there for them, provide for them, protect them, that intensity is very hard to be matched. It's hard to be matched. So in all reality, there's a multitude of individuals that are, teaching various things, and I don't disagree with their teachings. I don't. And I don't have a pessimistic point of view, but those of you that understand what I'm saying know what I mean, and they are enjoying their human experience. 99% of people are walking around right now enjoying their human experience, and I don't condemn that. I don't knock that. But it's kind of like the Matrix, where Neo took that red pill, right? He could never unknow things. He could never unsee the reality that was actually real. He could never go back. And, I think that many people will have a much better existence, and many people are supposed to stay plugged in, stay plugged into the human experience, go out there and, experience all that the human experience has to offer. They'll probably they have a much better, typically have a much better life than you and I will have. But at the end of the day, we don't have that option, so it is what it is. And as far as the answer that we're searching for, I don't think that it exists. I've had a mountain of questions in my mind for as long as I can remember, and I've just come to realize that I just really don't think that there is an answer for us to find. In fact, I don't think that there's much in this life to be gained at all. I've achieved certain things in my young life. I'm God willing, the Creator willing, the ancestors willing, I'll continue on to achieve much more, but I've achieved enough, seen enough, experienced enough to understand right now, even at my young age, that we are living in a world where there's not much to be gained. There's oftentimes, I even say, there's nothing to lose. If you're in the position in the boat that, and you relate to what I'm saying, then you know what I mean when I say that there is nothing for us to lose. There's nothing to lose. If I were to die today, be one person that could say that they actually knew me, actually knew me and were riding for me solely, 100% without a doubt. And at the end of the day, that breeds an individual that has nothing to lose. Many of us are also, a lot of you guys are young too, that are seeing this now. You're young, you don't have a lot to lose. I mean, you don't have the family, rather. You don't have people depending on you. I currently have a team and stuff like that. So, I'm not in that position in its entirety, but at the same time, it's still, for me, it'd only be one person that would come and be able to say they actually know me if I were to transition. But I want it to be understood that at the same time that there's nothing, people say there's nothing to lose, everything to be gained, right? That's a powerful mindset, but I don't think it's based solely in truth. Because yes, there's nothing for us to lose. There's nothing to lose by you posting content. There's nothing to lose by you going and becoming dangerous physically in the gym, boxing, Muay Thai, jujitsu, all of that. There's nothing to lose, but what is there to really be gained either? There's nothing to be gained at the same time that there's nothing to lose, at least in the sense of externally, right? So I think that a lot of the problem also is we look for answers to these deep questions in external terms. You want to know why, you haven't came across that woman that you want, or that man that you want for the women, or those ride or die soldiers that you want for the young men, the groups, or the even maybe the accumulation or success in the business endeavor that you want. All of us have questions like that, and we need to normalize that and bring that back to reality that, I'm not a robot, just like you're not a robot. Whether I show emotion or not, whether we're still going to get up and get after it every single day regardless. But nonetheless, though, we all have those questions. And the answers for those questions, you cannot search them externally, because the answer for that question isn't going to be the one that you desired. You're going to just be met with fate with the one you desired, or you're just going to be met with fate with the business success that you wanted, or met with fate with the win that you wanted, or whatever the question is. So that's why I tell you guys, like, yeah, there's nothing to lose, but what is there to really be gained either? And it's all internally at the end of the day. We're on this path, and we're unplugged, and we are understanding that it's all internal. It's an internal dialogue, it's an internal journey, it's an internal relationship, spiritual connections. All of that stuff is internal, not in the sense of it's confined to this physical realm, but internal in the sense of that it is something that cannot be explained externally. It's within you. And within you, I'm not saying housed within this body. I'm saying within you, and what your truest form and what you really are is. And your truest form of what you really are, you are not this body. You are not this intellect in this mind even. You're something that's much greater. You are divine at your highest, definition. And within your highest self, you can then start, I believe, to maybe get some answers to some of these questions, and that's just the reality of what we're existing in. Like there's nothing to lose, and there's not much to be gained either. Really, like let's really think about it. Like what's to be gained, right? The accumulation, the notoriety, how you're remembered is important. I find importance in that. I find solace in that, even at times, some of the hardest times, knowing that, I'll be remembered as one of the greatest to do what I'm doing, or even be remembered as just a solid man in general. I do find solace in that. But at the end of the day, what is there to be gained? These are the kind of questions that you start to ask when you're really unplugged. And that's why I don't suggest it for the masses. No, that's why a lot of people that are actually chosen get upset about the fact that why do I not have hundreds of thousands of followers, or millions of subscribers, or millions of dollars in monthly occurring revenue with what I'm teaching. And the answer for that is really simple, because what it is that we're representing is something very few people can even relate to, because it's not even something that most people want to do. Most people don't want to have these kind of questions. Now, I'm not saying some of us will have millions of followers and all that type of stuff, but in all reality, how many people really sit back and ask this kind of question that we're conversing with right now, which is, what is to be gained? Most people don't ask that type of stuff. Most people don't have those type of thoughts, and it's not even a question that I can answer, as far as what is to be gained. Because, like, look, we have accumulation. Okay, once you've touched a little bit of money, but look, I'm not even touching the amount of accumulation right now that I know I'm going to be touching. I mean, the art of money making is a skill that is compounding over time. And, given that a lot of us are young, that will catch up with us most certainly. But at the end of the day, what can I do with that money aside from buy things? I could buy a Porsche, or a Phantom, or a lifted Jeep, a lifted truck. I mean, whatever car you want, you could have it. However many cars you want, you could have it. Okay, that's done. Okay, what else? You can have the house that you want, the palace that you want, the houses that you want. Okay, what else? You could go on vacation. Okay, what else? You could eat whatever you want. Okay, what else? I mean, all of those things mean nothing. They mean nothing when it really boils down to it. And once again, I'm not saying that as a justification for sloth or laziness, because you do need accumulation to live. And if we're gonna have to live, I mean, we might as well live the best that we can. I might as well drive the best that I can. I might as well live in the best place that I can. So it's not to justify not going after those things, but at the same time, what is to be gained though? And it just can't be answered. And I think that, okay, well, what I mean, a positive, I guess, that could be gained from that is you can give money to individuals, right? But let's travel back to what I just said. If I were to transition today, it would only be one individual that I could say actually really knew me. So by those definitions, I'll add a couple more to that list as far as those I'd give to. But no, it's only one individual that could say they really knew me. But in terms of, those that I would give to, like, yeah, going to my next point, you could give money to individuals. You could give different gifts, but it's really only one person that right now, at least, that, or two people, I'm like, I'd get something out of providing for them, as far as, like, yeah, I did that. But even after that's done, then, I mean, what's to be gained? And I think that it's questions like these that create what we refer to as the black hole. They create what we're referring to as the chosen man, the young chosen man's crisis, even. Because many people can't handle that, and it creates them becoming an enemy to themselves. And I just have to let it be known that we can't answer these questions, many of the questions that we do have. And I think that in all reality, the concepts that we dive into, the questions that we ask, when no one's around, when pretty much no one's ever around, really, we just sit with them all day. You sit with them, and know that I don't think that ever will get better. I don't think you can ever plug back in or anything like that. I think that you have to just go through it. You have to just go through it, and I don't know why a lot of us have to forego many of the things that allow us to maintain our human touch. Because let's be real, especially for the men that are relating to this and existing in this, like myself, we forego those things, and what it creates is a individual that is very dangerous, yes, very intelligent, yes, very articulate, yes, very determined and even successful, but it creates an individual that lost the human touch, just lost it altogether. You know, some people are even afraid of us. You know, I mean, it's oftentimes the individuals that you want to talk to, or you want to build or connect with, that begin to fear you. They begin to, no longer understand you, because you're appearing to them. They know you've lost your human touch, just like and I can't answer why that happens to us, or why that's continually a continuous theme in a lot of our lives. I can't answer that, nor can we combat that. I can't sit up there and combat that, or fix that. I mean, we are what we are, and it is what it is. And I think that embodying that I am doesn't make it any better, because as a man, that's how you have to function. It is what it is. I am that I am. I represent this truth. And, that further, separates you from really having that human touch. And societal standards don't make it any better. Social media doesn't make it any better. So we're just existing in a very interesting time period, where a lot of us really just lost the human touch. And, I don't even know if we'll ever get it back. Or if we're even supposed to get it back. Like I said, fate is something that we just cross paths with from time to time. And, we got to just continue to focus on what it is you believe your mission is to fulfill right now. And it is what it is.